You are tired. You are so very tired. Do not move from this place. You were about to make a terrible decision based on a cruel lie you have been telling yourself for several months. I interrupted your evening to stop you. If you leave now, you will walk into tomorrow, completely blind. You will keep believing the silence means you have been forgotten. You will carry a weight I never asked you to hold. I know what you did earlier today. You parked the car. You turned the engine off. You sat there for 5 full minutes before you opened the door. You had to gather yourself just to walk inside. You needed to be the person they expect you to be. No one else saw that quiet moment of deep exhaustion, but I saw it, my beloved child. I have seen every single moment you thought you were completely alone. I am telling you what is moving toward you right now. I am telling you tonight. There is no version of this where I let you find out the hard way. Before this message is over, you will understand exactly why that door has stayed closed for so long. You will feel the heavy shame finally come off your shoulders, and you will know how to drop the guilt you carry for choices you never made. I am speaking directly to you, not to a crowd, not to the person next to you, to you. If you are listening, leave one word below to let me know you are here. Any word, I am reading. Let us look at how you have been living lately. You sleep through the night, but you wake up with your hands already clenched into tight fists. Your jaw is tense. You stand at the kitchen counter with your coffee. Your mind is already racing through a terrifying list of things you cannot control. You feel like you are always behind. You feel like you are failing. You smile and tell everyone you are fine. But inside, you are bracing for the next bad thing to happen. You have told yourself this is your own fault. You think you are just weak. You think you lack faith. Hear me clearly right now. You are not weak. You are carrying an impossible load. You keep yourself constantly busy. Being busy is a shelter from the terrifying silence. You fill every hour with tasks. You fill every quiet room with loud noise. Because if you stop moving, you will have to face the fear that perhaps I am not answering your prayers. The busyness is not dedication. It is a shield. I want to take that shield away tonight. You do not need it anymore. You do not have to perform for me. You do not have to earn my attention by wearing yourself out every single day. I am asking you to do one very small thing right now. Take a deep breath. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your hands. Just sit in this room with me. You have been waiting for a very long time. You have prayed the same prayer so many times that the words have lost their meaning. You say them out of habit now. You say them without any real hope attached to them anymore. You see other people receiving their answers. You watch them celebrate. You smile and congratulate them. But when you are alone, a quiet voice whispers that you are forgotten. You wonder if you did something wrong. You wonder if there is a flaw in you that disqualifies you from the blessing they received. I hear that quiet voice in your head. I know how much it hurts to wait while the rest of the world seems to move forward. You have stood at the edge of your own life, watching everyone else enter theirs. It feels like a harsh punishment. It feels like a cold rejection. But the silence you are sitting in is not an empty room. It is a workshop. The quiet is not a sign of my absence. It is the sound of deep preparation. You are enduring the hardest part of the process. I know you are close to giving up. I know the thought of walking away feels easier than standing here for one more day, but you must not walk away. You have survived the darkest part of the night. Do not close your eyes just before the sun breaks over the horizon. Stay with me. There is so much more I need to show you about this long waiting season. You have misread the subtle signs. You have mistaken my fierce protection for my bitter abandonment. We are going to fix that tonight. I am going to show you exactly what has been happening behind the scenes while you were weeping. You have tried so hard to be strong for everyone else. You carry their burdens. You listen to their problems. You offer them the grace that you refuse to give to yourself. And at the end of the day, there is nothing left in your cup. You pour yourself out until you are completely empty. And no one stops to ask who is pouring back into you. They just expect you to keep standing. It is exhausting to be the strong one all the time. It is exhausting to hold the house together while you feel like you are falling apart. I see the toll it has taken on your body. I see the lines of worry on your face. You do not have to hide your exhaustion from me. I am the one place where you are allowed to be completely weak. You are allowed to fall apart here. I will catch you. I know there is a heavy sentence you have been holding for a long time. You ask me over and over again daily. You asked for many long and painful years. You asked in the way you were taught. And you asked in ways no one ever taught you. And yet the room stayed completely and utterly quiet. You waited patiently through the endless changing seasons, but absolutely nothing changed. I will not tell you the room was not incredibly quiet. It truly was. You did not simply imagine that crushing and heavy silence. You certainly did not deserve to carry it, and no one has the right to explain it away with a quick excuse. I will also never tell you that you asked incorrectly. You absolutely did not. There was no better hour for you to pray. There was no truer posture for your weary heart. No special arrangement of words would have magically opened what a simple tear could not. Anyone who tells you the flaw was in your technique is telling you a devastating lie. You drew a very logical conclusion from my long silence. You concluded that I finally said no to you. On the hardest and darkest nights, you concluded something much worse. You decided I was not listening to you at all. You thought your frantic words just floated up into an empty ceiling. I want to answer that terrible doubt directly right now. You need to know I heard every single syllable you ever spoke to me. Not one of those desperate nights was completely unwitnessed, and silence was never. My word for a harsh rejection, there is a vast difference between silence and absence. A loving father sitting in the dark beside his sick child makes no sound at all. The frightened child might wake up and believe he is totally abandoned. He is entirely wrong about the empty room. He is not wrong about the thick dark. The dark is very real, and the dark is absolutely terrifying for a small child. But the faithful father is sitting right there. I am not asking you to call those painful years good. I am asking you to consider that you were never alone inside them. You believed I had moved on to someone much more worthy. That is exactly what the cruel noise of the world wants you to deeply believe. But something profoundly different was happening while you faithfully waited. Between the desperate asking and the final arriving, there is deep, unseen work being done. The work is not happening to the pouring water. The vital work is happening directly to the clay vessel. A massive gift that comes before your hands are truly ready is not a mercy at all. It is a terrible loss presented with a very beautiful wrapping. I have watched premature blessings completely break the fragile people who begged for them. I love you far too much to let that tragedy happen to you. I firmly refuse to hand you the holy promise in the fragile shape you asked for it. You mistakenly thought I was ignoring your daily pain, but I was actually protecting your distant future. I was busy building a massive capacity inside your weary soul. You intensely needed to be strong enough to firmly hold what is coming. You are almost strong enough right now today. Do you finally see how the enemy twists the true story? He takes my protective silence and loudly calls it my bitter indifference. He takes your long waiting season and calls it your personal failure. You have been fighting a severe battle of the mind. You have been fighting it with useless weapons that do not work. It is finally time to drop them forever. I see the exact heavy toll this long journey has taken on your wounded heart. Type still if you have kept walking even when you saw no evidence. Let me see your beautiful and quiet endurance. You have bravely stayed in the difficult fight. You have kept showing up when it was infinitely easier to simply disappear. That endurance is exactly why you are finally ready to hear the deeper truth. We are going to peel back the final layer of this painful mystery. I am going to clearly show you the hidden mechanism that kept you feeling stuck. It is not what you think it is. It has absolutely nothing to do with your daily effort. It has nothing to do with your overall worthiness. The answer has been sitting right in front of you. You just needed the correct spiritual lens to finally see it. Keep closely listening to my steady voice today. You have sadly allowed the loud noise of the world to dictate your worth. You nervously measure your own progress by looking at the successful people around you. You see them running far ahead of you. You see them gathering their abundant harvest, and you look down at your own empty hands in total despair. You wonder why your soil remains completely dry. You wonder why your planted seeds never sprouted. Stop looking at their vibrant green fields today. Their assigned season is not your assigned season. Their gentle rain is not your sudden rain. The hard ground beneath you is not dead. It is simply going incredibly deep instead. Roots that go incredibly deep take a very long time to show anything bright above the surface. A shallow root sprouts quickly and then dies in the very first severe drought. I am not growing a fragile, shallow thing in you. Let us look closely at a specific prayer you have stopped truly praying. You still say the familiar words every single night before you sleep, but you took your heavy weight completely off them somewhere along the weary way. And now they go up from you exactly the way a tired man greets a distant neighbor. He expects absolutely nothing from him. You just go through the motions. You fold your hands. You bow your tired head. There is a brief moment right at the end of your prayer when you catch yourself. You think, I have heard this exact plea so many times. You feel entirely foolish. You feel like you are just talking to the quiet walls of your bedroom. The passion has drained completely out of your desperate requests. You are just reciting a dry script because you are afraid to stop entirely. But you are also terrified to actually hope again. You have drawn a very painful conclusion from my long silence. You concluded that I simply said no to your deepest request. You assumed the permanently closed door meant I was completely done with you, my beloved child. I want to firmly answer that terrible thought directly right now. I heard every single one of those whispered words. Not one of those desperate nights was unwitnessed by me. Silence was never my chosen word for a harsh rejection. The enemy has lied to you about the quiet room. He told you that silence means you are unloved. He whispered that I give good things to other people. He claims I constantly withhold them from you. You believed him because the pain of waiting was so incredibly sharp. But his cruel voice is not the truth. You are not forgotten. You are fiercely loved. Here is the vital truth you have not been clearly told. Silence and refusal are not the exact same thing, but the fragile human heart cannot tell them apart. So it naturally fills the quiet space with the worst word it knows. Listen to what actually happens in a long waiting season. Between the desperate asking and the final arriving, there is deep, unseen work being done. The vital work is happening directly to the clay vessel. A massive gift that comes before your hands are truly ready is not a mercy at all. It is a terrible loss presented with a very beautiful wrapping. I have watched premature blessings completely break the fragile people who begged for them. I love you far too much to let that tragedy happen to you. I firmly refuse to hand you the holy promise in the fragile shape you asked for it. I am going to name this confusing season so you can never unsee it. This is the unfinished yes. It is a protective delay designed to expand your capacity. It helps you securely hold the coming weight of glory. A yes spoken too early will crush the one who receives it. The unfinished yes is currently stretching your character. It is deepening your roots. It is making you entirely unshakable. I want you to look back over the long years you have bitterly called abandoned. You were not being ignored in those painful years. You were being deeply formed in them. Ask yourself honestly what you can firmly carry now. Think of what you could not have carried before that waiting began. You have a profound empathy for broken people now. You have a quiet endurance that you never possessed in your easier days. None of that incredible strength came from the instantly answered prayers. All of it came directly from the long silence you wrongly thought was rejection. The waiting season was never empty of my steady presence. You simply could not see me actively working in the dark. I was constantly working on the one thing you never thought to carefully look at. I was working on you. You were the real project. I will not ask you to force yourself back into that exact same frantic prayer tonight. I am asking you to gently change one simple phrase. Where you have been angrily saying, "Why have you not?" I want you to softly say, "What are you doing?" Say it just once out loud before you finally sleep. Changing that one question shifts your entire posture. It moves you from painful resentment into active expectation. You stop acting like a rejected beggar. You start standing like a chosen heir. Comment the silence is not refusal, so your own eyes can clearly read the truth. When the heavy silence gets loud again tomorrow, you will not have to take my word for it. You will have your own firm declaration written down. You will know exactly what the quiet room actually means. The delay is not your destruction. Remember the unfinished yes I just named for you. I want to show you the beautiful life standing on the other side of it. Come with me to an ordinary morning exactly 6 months from now. The sun is just coming up. You wake up before the alarm rings. You are standing in your quiet kitchen. The phone rings loudly on the counter, and your stomach does not drop. You dry your hands slowly. You do not brace for terrible news. The heavy dread that used to live in your chest is simply not there anymore. You answer the call with your own steady voice. You do not try to desperately manage the other person's unpredictable emotions. You are completely at peace in your own quiet house. The frantic fear is entirely gone. That peaceful morning is not a distant dream. That calm version of you already exists. She is not being assembled somewhere far away out of parts you do not have yet. She is standing just on the other side of the heavy silence you are enduring right now. The distance between you and her is not time. It is permission. You must simply allow the unseen work to finish. Rest here for a moment and let that beautiful truth settle. Now we must look at something else. We need to talk about a specific door you keep walking through. You meet a new person or you start a new path. It feels incredibly wonderful at the very beginning. You think you have finally found a safe place to rest, and then you recognize the subtle shift. You notice the familiar coldness creeping into the room. You find yourself carefully managing your words before you even speak them out loud. You feel that old tight knot returning to your tired stomach. You ask me why this keeps finding you. You wonder why you always end up back in the exact same painful place. You feel completely defeated by your own choices. You think you naturally attract terrible situations. You believe something inside you is fundamentally broken. You secretly believe you actually deserve the constant chaos. Beloved, none of that is true. I will not let that cruel lie stand in this room today. You are not a bad judge. You judge very well in every other area. You make wise decisions at work. You give excellent advice to your struggling friends. You are not permanently marked for constant misery. Something much deeper is controlling your painful choices. I am going to show you exactly what is happening in the dark. An unhealed wound does not just sit still and patiently wait. It actively goes looking for a familiar room. Your deep pain wants to find a place. It wants the terrible story to finally end differently. So it blindly walks you toward whatever feels deeply familiar. Not because the familiar thing is actually good for you, but because familiar is where the old wound originally learned how to survive. Recognition feels exactly like home to a weary heart, even when home was never actually safe. That intense flood in your chest when you start something new is not certainty. That is your own history recognizing its own messy handwriting. I am going to name this toxic pattern so you can finally defeat it. This is the familiar door. It stands wide open in every single season of your life. It always looks like the easy way back to a comfortable place. I want you to look back at the difficult choices you have been deeply ashamed of. You were not being foolish. Every time you walked through those bad doors, you were secretly hoping the ending would be repaired. You hoped this time you would be enough to change the bitter outcome. That is not a shameful weakness. That is a fiercely loyal heart trying to save a wounded child nobody ever came for. I saw exactly what you were reaching for in the dark. It was never the painful chaos. It was the safe ending you never got. You have been harshly punishing yourself for trying to heal your own deep trauma. Stop calling your desperate survival tactics a moral failure. So carry one simple question to the very next doorway you face. When your chest floods and a loud voice says this is the one, stop walking. Wait 10 seconds before you take another step. Ask yourself if this intense feeling is true recognition or just old familiarity. They do not feel the same when you intentionally slow down to tell them apart. True rightness arrives very quietly. It feels like wide room to breathe. Old familiarity arrives fast and loud. It demands immediate action. You do not have to fix your entire life today. You only have to learn the subtle difference between those two feelings. Learn the difference, and the familiar door loses all its terrible power over you forever. You can simply stand in the hallway and refuse to turn the handle. You do not have to repeat the old cycle. You have the absolute power to choose a completely different path. I am standing in that hallway with you right now. I will help you recognize the right door when it finally appears. You will not walk into another painful trap. You are safe with me. I know the exact thought moving through your mind right now. You are thinking that someone simply wrote these words down for a video. You tell yourself this is not truly me speaking to you. You assume this is just another random voice on the internet. Voices are incredibly cheap in the loud world you live in today. I am not offended by that honest thought. I made the careful part of you that asks those hard questions. The caution in your heart was never a spiritual defect. It is heavy armor. You earned that armor, honestly. You have been promised wonderful things before by people who only wanted something from you. A man sold a false cure is no fool for reading the label a second time. He is just careful. I have absolutely no quarrel with careful. So I will not ask you to blindly believe me tonight. Blind belief is not the heavy price of entry here. I will ask something much smaller of you. Notice what happened in your chest a few minutes ago. These specific words found the hidden place you have described to absolutely no one. You did not decide to feel that sudden warmth. It arrived before your logical thinking could reach it. Judge the actual fruit, beloved. Do not just judge the messenger. If what you hear tonight makes you gentler in your own house, then you will know exactly what this was. If it makes you quieter in your own anxious mind, you will recognize the true source. Keep your hard questions. Bring them all with you into this room. I have never needed you to be perfectly certain. I only need you to stay. You have stayed this far. Now we must look at the heavy thing you are currently holding. We need to talk about the terrible decision you were about to make before I stopped you. You were going to surrender your inheritance. The current battle simply felt too fierce. I am not going to let you surrender. Everything I have said so far was deep preparation for this exact moment. Now you must hear the core truth itself. The heavy resistance you feel right now is not a sign of your failure. It is absolute proof that you are finally standing on the right battlefield. The enemy does not send his best weapons against a person who is doing nothing. He attacks the ones who are dangerously close to breaking through. Look closely at the familiar cycle of defeat in your family line. Someone always gets this close to the promised land and then mysteriously turns around. They settle for a smaller life. Pushing forward requires too much sacrifice. That invisible boundary has held your entire family captive for multiple generations. It is a thick wall of fear disguised as practical wisdom, and it is standing right in front of you today. I did not bring you this far to watch you repeat their tragic history. I brought you here to finally shatter the ancient mirror. You are the one I chose to refuse the old agreement. You are the one who will draw a firm line in the sand. The generational cycle is completely terrified of your next step. Your obedience today destroys its bitter authority tomorrow. You must declare your total independence from that ancient cycle. You have the absolute power to stop it right here in this room. Write its stops in my house if you are ready to completely break this cycle. Let the loud noise of the world see your final decision. Putting it in writing breaks the silent agreement you made with your own fear. You are no longer a passive victim. Let us close the heavy door on the long waiting season. The painful silence you endured was never a permanent refusal. The unfinished yes was actively building the immense strength you need for this exact battle. You could not have faced this generational wall 3 years ago. You would have crumbled under the massive pressure, but you are not crumbling today. The protective delay did its perfect work in you. You are standing at the absolute edge of your own liberation. But there is one final thing keeping you tied to the dark ground. It is the heaviest chain of them all. It is incredibly heavy because you do not even realize you are wearing it. You have been carrying it around for so many years. You think it is just a natural part of your own body. You think you are just naturally exhausted. You tell yourself that life is simply supposed to be this endlessly draining. You look at your completely empty hands. You wonder why your arms are trembling with fatigue. I am going to show you the invisible bags you are carrying. I am going to reveal the terrible burden you picked up without my permission. You must not look away from this. I know exactly what you were planning to do today. You looked at your heavy circumstances and decided you cannot take one more single step. The long road has drained every ounce of your daily hope. You woke up feeling crushed by a weight you cannot even see. You are secretly crying in your car. You think you have finally reached the end of your endurance. You are snapping at the people you fiercely love. You walk through your own house, feeling like a tightly wound spring ready to loudly snap. You hate who you are becoming under this immense pressure. The endless waiting has drained every drop of joy out of your weary soul. You sat on the edge of your bed this morning and whispered that you just want to give up. I heard that whisper. You have told yourself a very cruel story about this exhaustion. You believe you are just fundamentally weak. You think you do not have what it takes to finish this long spiritual race. You assume your faith is completely broken. Your tired physical body is constantly breaking down under the severe stress. My beloved child, that is a terrible and destructive lie. You are not weak. You have survived incredibly dark valleys that would have completely destroyed a lesser person. You have kept standing when the fierce winds of life tried to violently knock you down. You are not failing the test, but you are desperately fighting the wrong battle. You are using all your precious energy to carry the wrong supplies into the painful fight. Here is the profound truth that will finally set you completely free tonight. Deep exhaustion does not come from the heavy weight you were actually given. It comes directly from the crushing weight you were never given. Somewhere along the way, you started carrying things I never asked you to pick up. You willingly took on emotional burdens that do not actually belong to you. You carry the bitter consequences of your grown child's poor decisions. You carry the ancient dysfunction of your entire extended family. You desperately try to manage the endless opinions of people who do not even really know you. You absorb the toxic moods of everyone around you. You carry another person's heavy trauma the way a thirsty man carries water in his bare hands. The cold water completely soaks him. It constantly spills the whole way. He never actually arrives anywhere. He is too busy trying to hold the impossible liquid. I am going to clearly name this terrible cycle so you can permanently drop it today. This is the borrowed load. It has your tired fingerprints all over it, but it was never yours. I want you to look gently back at your long years of deep exhaustion. You were not failing at all during those hard seasons. You were hauling heavy luggage that belonged to other people. Every morning you woke up and picked up heavy bags that were never yours to carry. And every night you judged yourself harshly for walking so incredibly slowly. You thought your slow pace was a shameful lack of faith. But a loaded soul that keeps faithfully walking is not a failure. She is profoundly obedient. He is incredibly steadfast. I saw your beautiful faithfulness the entire time. You could only see how far behind you had fallen. You were doing the heavy lifting for an entire generation. Now we reach the absolute core of this entire message. This is exactly why I interrupted your evening and told you to stop. You have been waiting for my answer while carrying a massive pile of borrowed anxiety. You passionately begged me to open the door. I could not open the glorious door while your hands were completely full. You would have dropped your blessing. Hear the ultimate truth about your long and silent waiting season. You thought my silence meant I walked away. But I was building the capacity in you to hold what I am handing you right now. The quiet room was not a rejection. It was a holy classroom where you finally learned how to put the borrowed baggage down forever. I had to wait for you to become completely exhausted by the things you were never meant to carry. Only true exhaustion could force you to finally open your tight fists. Your empty hands are not a tragedy. They are the absolute requirement for the brand new season approaching your life. You will receive this beautiful assignment without breaking. You are no longer holding their shame. I am giving you a very specific instruction for tomorrow morning. When you wake up, I want you to ask yourself one simple question before you pick anything up. Ask yourself if I personally handed you that specific worry. If the clear answer is no, you must leave it on the floor. You must refuse to pick up the heavy bags of someone else's journey. Putting down what I never gave you is not cruel abandonment, it is pure obedience. Your only job is to firmly steward the specific grace I poured over your own life. When you stop trying to save everyone else, you finally have the energy to step into your own promised land. The exhausting cycle is finally over today. You are entirely free from the agonizing expectation to constantly fix their deep brokenness. The heavy chain of their toxic demands is completely broken today. The massive door you have been patiently waiting for is finally swinging wide open right now. Leave the borrowed load here. Look at me. Step into your light. Now that you see the heavy truth clearly, I must tell you what will come to try and take it back. You are going to wake up tomorrow morning. The old familiar habit will quickly try to whisper in your ear. It will tell you that putting down their heavy bags makes you a terribly selfish person. Do not listen to that lying voice today. It is a cruel trap designed to keep you firmly chained to their endless chaos. There is a steep cost to another year of the exact same painful arrangement. It is not a cost anyone will invoice you for. It is paid very quietly in the beautiful things you simply stop expecting. If you pick up that borrowed load again tomorrow, you will lose this deep peace. I am actively building it inside you right now. I am warning you about a deeply ingrained habit. Do not walk out of this quiet room and immediately return to your exhausting daily performance. You have already spent decades trying to fix the deep brokenness of the fragile people who carelessly hurt you. You cannot save them by completely destroying yourself in the chaotic process. You must let them carry their own heavy consequences. You must protect the fragile new growth happening inside your own weary soul today. I am standing firmly between you and that bitter outcome right now. I am not moving away from this door. But you have to stay where my strong hand can easily reach you. If you go back to the old way, you will walk into the new season with your eyes open, and you will still not see the blessing. The clear seeing is the vital part I am giving you right now. Stay in this completely safe place with me. There is one final thing I have not given you yet. I have been intentionally holding it back on purpose. It has a very beautiful and profound name. I will call it the very last word I kept. You will not receive it in the quiet part of this message that sounds like a typical ending. You will receive it just after the holy blessing. Do not go anywhere when it sounds like I am finally closing. That is precisely where the greatest treasure lives. I need you to stay with me because the final sentence belongs to you by name. But before we reach that deeply holy moment, I want to show you the beautiful house on the other side of this heavy ceiling. Remember the borrowed load I just named for you a few moments ago. I want you to clearly see what an ordinary evening looks like when your tired hands are completely empty. Come with me to a quiet evening exactly 1 year from today. The bright sun has gone down. The simple dishes are done. The entire house is gone beautifully still. You sit down at your kitchen table and you just look quietly at your open hands. Absolutely nothing is completely falling apart around you today. And here is what I want you to deeply feel. Your stomach does not drop with sudden panic. Notice exactly what is not in that peaceful room with you. The held breath at the sudden sound of a closing door is completely gone. You do not anxiously read the face of everyone who walks into the room. You do not check them before a single word is even spoken. The old exhausting dread is simply not sitting across the table from you anymore. The entire room is perfectly and wonderfully ordinary, and that ordinary quiet is the whole stunning miracle. It took multiple generations to make that kitchen table completely ordinary and safe. That beautiful evening is not a foolish fantasy, but she is standing on the other side of one heavy thing you are still gripping tightly today. You are holding the false belief that you must manage everyone else to be truly safe. The distance between you and that quiet kitchen table is not time. It is a very firm and necessary boundary, and a strict boundary is not something you passively wait to magically appear out of thin air. It is something you declare out loud in a completely quiet room. You must say it tonight before you finally sleep. Tell me you are resigning from the exhausting job of carrying their heavy world. Say it once. The peaceful evening starts walking toward you. Do not let the loud noise of the world steal this profound clarity from you right now. The enemy will try to distract you in these final few minutes. He desperately wants you to close this message. He wants you to go back to your frantic daily worrying. I need you to stop your moving completely. Take another very slow and deeply healing breath. You are standing on holy ground right now. We are moving into the final and most sacred part of this entire journey together. I am currently preparing to deeply bless you. I am preparing to seal the deep work we have done together in this quiet hour. Everything you have heard today was designed to break the invisible chains holding you back. You are so incredibly close to the finish line. Do not drop your tired gaze right now. You must look directly up at my loving face. The incredibly heavy weight is finally almost over. The teaching is completely finished now. You can put your heavy notebook down. You do not have to study this final part or figure anything out. I am going to lower my voice for this last sacred moment. This part is not a strict instruction. It is a deep blessing. Come much closer than you usually let yourself come today. Not because I need it, but because your tired soul desperately needs it. You have spent a very long time arranging your brave life. You did it so that nobody could tell how much you were quietly hurting. You have been so incredibly strong for everyone else. Now it is time to be held. There is absolutely nothing you have to carry out of this room tonight. You do not leave here with a new exhausting task. You do not leave with a difficult promise you will feel guilty about breaking by the weekend. I am blessing your empty hands right now. I am speaking a deep and profound peace over your anxious mind. The frantic racing in your chest is finally slowing down. You are fully allowed to rest without earning it first. Let the quiet heal you. Let the gentle stillness wash away the bitter residue of the long waiting season. You are totally safe here. You faithfully stayed in the empty room when it was much easier to run away. Because of that, I am moving you. I am bringing you out of the terrifying waiting in the dark. I am walking you directly into the warm light. You will no longer measure my deep love by the things you currently lack. You will finally walk boldly, as one who is fully and completely known. You will never again translate yourself into something much smaller. You do not need to shrink just so you can be easily received by broken people. You will stand tall in the exact space I carved out for you. The painful cycle stops entirely with you today. The heavy generational curse of constantly pleasing others is completely broken in your house. The young children watching you will learn how to live in beautiful freedom. They will learn it because they will watch you live in freedom. That is the stunning work I am doing in you. And now we have reached the very end of our time together. I told you there was one final thing I kept back on purpose. I promised you a specific sentence that belongs only to you by name. It is the very last word I kept. I held it back because you needed to drop their heavy bags first. Your hands had to be truly ready to receive it. Your hands are beautifully empty now. You are fully ready to hear it. Listen to me very carefully. Here is the last word I kept for you tonight. You do not have to save anyone else to be totally worthy of my fierce love. That is the final sentence. Let that truth shatter the old invisible chains. You have spent your entire life believing a lie. You thought your highest value was found in fixing the deep brokenness of the people around you. You thought your painful sacrifice was the heavy rent you had to pay just to exist in their world. You thought you had to bleed to be truly valuable, but your massive debt was paid a very long time ago. You are completely enough, exactly as you are right now. You are entirely loved without fixing a single problem tomorrow. Let that beautiful truth wash over your tired spirit. I want you to carry that one specific sentence into your quiet kitchen in the morning. The old panic will try to violently rise up and demand your constant labor. When it does, you will remember what I told you. You will remember that you are a beloved child. You are never just a useful tool. I have said everything I came to say to you. What happens next is not mine to do. There is a specific name that arrived in your mind twice while I was speaking tonight. You know exactly which name it is. They are currently carrying a borrowed load just like you were. They are silently collapsing under the terrible weight of it. They desperately need to know they are allowed to put the heavy bags down. They need someone to give them permission. Send this exact message to that specific name tonight. When you send it to them, write one honest sentence. Tell them exactly why you thought of them. That one single sentence from you will matter far more than everything I have said in this hour. Do not send it to a large group of people. Send it directly to that one weary soul. Give them the beautiful freedom you just received. Then leave one word below to let this place know you stayed to the very end. The dark season is officially over. Type I say yes with my life if you receive this final blessing. I read what my children faithfully write. Now go gently into your beautiful evening. Do not rush frantically back into the loud noise of the anxious world. Walk out of this quiet room with confidence. Walk the way a person walks when they have finally stopped auditioning for a place they already belong to. I am with you in the quiet kitchen. I am with you in the dark. I am with you in the glorious morning. Go in absolute peace.